Big Mike here with
Hayes Entertainment.
Today's episode. We're going to the UFC. We got flyweight fighter 8-2 record Miranda Maverick.
If you like what we're doing, you hit the subscribe button. If you're looking for a mug, perhaps a hoodie, head on over to IOnlyTouchGreatness.com.
Hi, I'm Miranda Fear the Maverick. I fight in the UFC in the flyweight division, and I'm coming on the I Only Touch Greatness podcast.
This is the hottest place for big name interviews in Vancouver with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
She was going light jab, boom, lead elbow. She threw it right up the middle. Now her coach told her time and time again, it's gonna happen, right? She threw this a couple times earlier in the round, and it didn't land.
And
That
Big
one
Mike.
was beautiful, it was perfect. And then the referee steps in and goes, listen, I cannot allow this to continue.
Hi, Miranda.
Hello.
Hi,
How's it going?
Good.
Big Mike here, and that's Ryan.
I'm the idiot. I'm the idiot that screwed up this morning.
All good.
All right, good. We're glad to have you.
Thank you very much for taking the time for us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay, how's your day going?
Pretty good. Got a lot done.
Okay.
So you grew up in Missouri, I'm guessing, and what was life like there and childhood there?
I grew up like all over the place, kind of. We moved around a lot when I was a kid and grew up mainly on a farm. My dad raises beef cattle, so it was hard work, pretty disciplined work ethic kind of growing up. And as I got older, I got into education more and more and also self-defense. So that's how the schooling and the MMA kind of started.
Okay.
I was just looking at your Instagram here, and that one video of your dad with the blowing the streamer saying he looks like Jason Bateman. You know who that is? The actor?
Yeah, I do. I've heard different things about what my dad looks like. That's a new one. I'll have to remember that one.
Did you play any other sports growing up?
I did, yes. I played almost every sport known to man as I grew up. Started with gymnastics when I was a little bitty kid. Did that until I was around 10 years old, and then transitioned to more like original sports like basketball, track and field, cross country. Did soccer for like 4th grade and then quit that. But kind of stuck with track and field until I finally got into jiu-jitsu and started that, and did wrestling my senior year in high school for like a couple months, and then ended up going into only jiu-jitsu for the rest of basically my life and starting MMA.
Okay. That was my next question, was how the MMA start, but you answered for me.
Well, not really. So MMA actually started, my dad and I and my siblings would watch the UFC when I was a little kid and stuff. And my dad was very big about his girls being able to handle themselves and learning self-defense. And I was the oldest. So we started doing jiu-jitsu at home based on videos we would watch and watching the UFC. And like, we actually learned like pretty good technique. We didn't just wrestle around and things. And so I decided I wanted to give it a go and try it in a gym. And my dad was like, go for it. You just got to find a way to pay for it. So I did, and started at an official gym. And within 2 weeks, I was basically hooked. I loved it.
Well, you definitely made the right decision.
Yeah. It was the sport for me.
Do you have any nicknames, and if so, where did it come from?
I have Fear the Maverick right now as my nickname. I've had others in the past that were just amusing, but the Fear the Maverick actually came from a previous coach I had in Springfield, Missouri, and it was always the joke that I was like too nice when I would go into MMA fights and too nice in general in training, and so it was always make them fear you, make them fear the Maverick, and then somehow it just stuck and became a nickname.
Okay, it goes good. Who's your biggest influencers throughout your career?
My dad, for sure. He's the biggest influence in my entire life and my career in MMA. But in addition to that, within the MMA world, GSP has always probably been the biggest one. And aside from him, I liked Brian Stan. I think he's a good person. And then out of the girls, I don't really have a favorite anymore, but I love Tatiana Suarez's technique. I like watching her and knowing that I can do that too eventually.
Okay.
We'd like to hear that you had GSP on the list, being Canadian.
Yep, number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to read before I'd walk into the cage just to get myself hyped up and motivated.
Oh,
Wow.
right.
I like to hear that. That's awesome. Take me back to your first UFC win and fight, where they ended the bout in between rounds after Liana was bleeding everywhere from the beautiful elbow you threw.
It was miraculous. I wouldn't have imagined it going that way. And I remember sitting on the stool and my coach was describing to me everything I should be doing in the next round. And I was like, not paying attention to him. And he's like, hey, pay attention. I was like, no, look. And it was over. But as I threw the first elbow that I landed in that round, I just saw that it connected really clean. She was throwing her cross and kind of leading her head down at the same time. So I saw that after I connected the first time and then the second one connected, I managed to land it with a clean cutting motion with the third, and then actually threw one right after that to kind of bust it open even more. So had they let it go to the second round, I think it was a good stoppage, because the second round I would have just kept targeting that nose and made it a lot worse.
Definitely you would have. That's for sure. It was fucking leaking. Like those shorts. I don't know if your shorts were covered, but hers were definitely covered.
Yeah, I was
blood.
covered. I was amusingly grumpy at my coach because he used a bunch of towels and wiped me off for the interviews. And I was like, what are you doing? Leave it.
Okay.
How much of a notice did you have for that one, by the way?
I had a lot of notice, more notice than I've ever had for any fight ever. So it was about
Okay.
7 weeks or 8 weeks. So a full fight camp for once in my life. Previous to that, I think the longest I'd ever had was 5 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All that blood. Do you smell blood when you're out there and you're kicking ass? Does it make you want to finish her?
I'd say so. The part where, got a little bit of hype for the fight where she said, I will kill you, definitely helped with the smelling of blood going in there and having some more motivation. But then the first time that I actually connected with my punch against her, I bloodied her lip. And then the second punch that I threw, I started bleeding she started bleeding out of the nose. So I kind of just felt my own power, gained a little bit more confidence with every punch I threw, and started throwing my hands for once.
I'm pretty sure I even felt that elbow on my couch. I was like, oh.
It was amusing to watch some of my friends' reactions who were like videoing it as they were going there. Oh.
What's your favorite strike and submission, would you say?
Oof. My favorite submission is probably the arm bar or just rear naked choke, the typical basics. That's how you win a fight. And then strike, I mean, it's hard to say that the elbow is not anymore. It's pretty damaging. I also like cross. I like my power cross.
Okay.
But I also have been falling in love with that Superman jab. You guys probably saw me throw it a couple times.
Yeah, you threw it a couple times, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have any pregame like meals or pre-fight meals or rituals?
Well, this was my first time having Trifecta make my meals, and because they're making them and because it was in Abu Dhabi, I didn't really have access to the typical restaurants and food that I would have in the United States. But usually, at least post-fight, I always either have IHOP with my family because we get out so late. That's about the only thing open anyway. And I love sugar, love everything sweet. So I'll go to IHOP and get whatever flavored pancakes I want and a chocolate shake and whatever else. That's always the ritual. I usually eat 2 bites of it and I'm full, but I still get it all. Or if we get out early enough, I go to like Outback Steakhouse or Texas Roadhouse.
Okay, good choices, definitely.
But chicken usually there, and their bloomin' onion and whatever else they've got that tastes good. Loaded sweet potato is a favorite. And then leading up to the fight, usually just high carbs, anything that can really get my body fueled back up. I stay pretty consistent with my diet until the fight, in terms of I eat every 3 hours and just eat small portions and healthy food.
Okay. It makes sense, obviously, when you're training and get in that battle. What was Fight Island like?
I thought it was great. It was my first time out of the United States. Plus the COVID meant that there were not a bunch of people there. So we were kind of getting a lot of privacy. The whole beach was like a private beach, basically. just being out, having a vacation, basically. I know that sounds weird. I was cutting weight and stuff, but that's the closest thing I've ever had to a vacation. So it was really nice for me. I enjoyed it. It was a pretty easy cut. I, of course, was very excited. It was my dream to be there, to be in the UFC. So everything leading up to it was amazing, you know. Plus, it was on the biggest card of 2020. I couldn't ask for a better debut opportunity.
Of course. Was your dad in your corner for that one?
So that's the only thing sad about it. He was not, because of passport issues. He had not gotten his passport back soon enough with all the COVID restrictions and things. So he was not in my corner. It was actually really, that was the most upsetting part of it all. I called him right after the fight in between interviews, and he was so excited, you know, but I wish my family would have videotaped him so I could have seen his reaction and everything.
Yeah.
Of course. I'm sure he won't miss another one. So
No, he's got his passport now.
Would you rather stand with an opponent or take him to the ground?
Oof. I think it just depends on the opponent. But I definitely favor my ground game. But now I'm getting a lot of confidence in my stand-up as well.
I know you've fought a lot of tough opponents in the past, obviously in the pro circuit. Who would you say your toughest opponent is so far?
Deanna Bennett was pretty tough. She's probably the toughest as far as me going in there and having to use every part of my game. She's pretty good at wrestling and just shoving people against the cage. It's not even so much her takedowns as it is her pressure against the cage. And then just her stand-up, she throws her hands pretty well too. So as far as hard fights, plus I had a lot of pressure the last time I fought her because I had already lost to her the first time around. All I had to do was get some fire underneath my butt that first time, and I don't think that would have happened. Went in there the second time with all that pressure on me, knowing I had to win. So she was probably the hardest opponent. Definitely not my most nerve-wracking opponent, though. My second pro fight, I went against a girl who had just beat Tiffany Van Soest in her pro debut with Invicta, and she looked like she was just jacked, and she was pretty intimidating, and I went in there supposed to get my butt kicked, like I was just handed to her as shark bait, basically, and went in there and beat her in the first round, so I was pretty happy about that. It was a hard weight cut, too.
Oh, okay. That's a good one, then. I'll have to look that one up.
Well, what was your favorite ring? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry I interrupted. What's your favorite ring entrance music?
Oof. So Nunez has stolen, I like to say she stole mine because I'm pretty sure I used it first. The Champion song, that was the one that kind of like represented my life. That's the one that I liked walking out to. Now that I'm in the UFC, I can't be using that one anymore. So I chose to walk out to the Immigrant song this last time.
Okay.
That's a Carrie Underwood Ludacris song, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then this last one was Led Zeppelin. Okay. So
who would a dream fight be for you?
Oof. I really, really wanted to fight Caitlin Chukagian. I really think she's going to retire before that becomes an opportunity, but that was the one that I wanted. I was saying, you know, let a young up and comer have a chance, you know. Then again, it's kind of a lose-lose, but at the same time, like, let some young people have their chance, you know.
Of course.
That I just got done asking for the fight against Gina. She just got done winning against Rachel Ostovich this last weekend. I'm hoping that comes about. It sucks for me because anybody I would call out is all fighting within the past, like since I fought to January. So there's no real openings unless I keep my weight low and get ready for a short notice, which I'm trying to do.
Oh, Gina would be a good one, actually. I could see that happening. Yeah, one I was going to suggest was Lauren Murphy. I feel like you and Lauren Murphy would have a good fight.
Here's the thing about the top 10 fighters and stuff right now. I'm not getting paid enough to be fighting them yet. I would gladly take a fight against them, but it's kind of disheartening when I would win a fight and they would get twice as much pay than me winning by losing. That's just right. It's annoying, you know, and I can't renegotiate for at least another couple fights. So I want to get a couple under my belt, renegotiate that contract after a couple more wins, and then skyrocket my way to the top within the next year.
And get that
you're one of the youngest too. So you got a long road still for you.
Yep. Hopefully it's not too long though, you know, the 125 division isn't all that stacked. And I think the top 10's always just floating in and out. There's no solid contenders right now. There's no solid people in the top 10. I think it's always just top 20 is kind of all just in there.
Well, we know you're gonna be at the top. Why do you think we have you on the podcast?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's called I Only Touch Greatness for a reason. What do you ever fight in that same category as the Claudia girl, the Brazilian?
You mean in 115?
Yeah, is she in 115?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Claudia 15. I tried to fight at strawweight my first 2 pro fights, and they were both disasters. Didn't make weight either time. The first time I had just turned 19 years old, and I was telling myself that I could make weight, not realizing how much I had grown in muscle content or how little I knew about proper weight cutting at that time, although I had had several amateur fights. But as I grew older, I guess matured into the muscles I have now, plus the harder workouts and things. And then the second time I attempted to do it, my body, I basically went into medical shock and promised my dad I would never make the cut to 115 again, at least until I started walking around at a much lighter weight. And then once the UFC decided to have a 125-pound division, that didn't become a concern anymore, because that's the only reason I was trying to do 115 to begin with, was so I had that shot at the UFC.
Okay.
Do you have a dream venue? I mean, you say Abu Dhabi sounds like it might have been pretty awesome, but
It was
maybe home in Missouri.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'd say I love the idea of traveling. I love the idea of getting all these new experiences. But honestly, for me, I like being close to home. I like having that support system. Even if it's within the United States, I like it better, like if it was in Vegas or something like that. My dream venue is when COVID quits and I can actually have my family come watch me, would be nice.
Yeah.
What's it been like working for Dana White so far? I know it's only a short little stint so far, but I'm sure you've talked with him, met with him. He seems like a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I met with him at Abu Dhabi, and it was a pretty nice experience, of course. I actually posted one of the videos of it afterwards. He had kind of called me out of the middle of a interview I was having and was like, "Hey, come here. I heard you wanted to talk to me," because I called him out after the fight and was like, "Where's Dana?" or whatever I said. My adrenaline was off.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hi." And I was like, "Do you remember my name now? It's Miranda Maverick." Because earlier, a couple days before, he didn't know who I was. And I told him who I was, and I was debuting on that card. And he was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "You'll remember the name." And then, of course, did that to be amusing. And I was like, "I wish I could have shown you more. I only got to go 1 round out of 3. I was ready to put in so much harder work, blah, blah, blah." And he was like, "We saw enough." And that was
perfect.
Perfect. Yeah,
those are solid words to hear from the boss. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
What's been your go-to quarantine snack?
Oof. I didn't really have any quarantine snacks. I love sweets. I kind of said that earlier. I have anything sweets. I'll have ice cream, cookies, candy, whatever. I love chocolate. So that's a problem for weight cuts and things, but not really, because I stay away from them. Chocolate milk is one thing that I just cut out entirely during fight camps because I drink way too much of it on a regular basis.
Hey, I love chocolate milk.
Too. We had milk cows and things, and we drank whole milk from the cow and things, like a gallon a day at least for our family. And that was like 4 or 5 of us. And then as I got older, that never stopped for me, unfortunately. And so I had to learn to like get over skim milk and stuff, and then just cut it out entirely during fight camps, which is so hard for me because of how much I drink on a regular basis.
It's good for you, though.
What's your go-to chocolate bar?
Oof. Probably Reese's.
Okay.
I love my peanut butter too. Good choice.
Yep.
How do you celebrate after a big win? And is there like a meal that you like just like can't wait to get into? Like, is it a steak or is it a burger or
Outback?
I just always like look forward to that meal with people. It's more about the people than the meal itself. But like I said, the IHOP, the sweets and stuff. And then there's always a dessert waiting for me at home. This last fight was very different because obviously it's a couple days later by the time I get home. And the only thing I was looking forward to after my fight was to get homework done. So it was really unfortunate this time. But pretty much the whole flight back, I was either sleeping or working on schoolwork.
Okay.
How quick do you get out of there after the fight? We learned last night that I guess they fought on Fight Island, and you were out there on like 3 hours later, you're in the air.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. It wasn't like that for me. It was the next like afternoon, so that was nice. I got to sleep in a little bit. But out of the venue, yeah, it's right away. I do the interviews. They take me to the doctor, make sure I'm not like concussed, and then take us right back to the hotel. Luckily, they have like the channel set to where we can watch the rest of the fights, but we don't get to watch them live. And then go to sleep, go hang by the pool for an hour or two in the morning, and head out.
Okay. What's your favorite piece of sports memorabilia this far in your career? Would it be those shorts from last fight?
Yeah, probably the shorts. They told me to give me one piece. They had to take one piece of my stuff from the fight. So it would either been my walkout shirt, my sports bra, my shorts, or my gloves. And I was like, oh, this is such a hard decision. And I was like, I don't want to give them my shorts. I really like the shorts to say my name on them and everything. The gloves, I'm not going to give them my bloody gloves. That's something I'm keeping forever. And so I gave him my t-shirt, and I'm all sad because all my corners like had extra larges or something. It's not even like I got to be like, give me your small, give it. So
I wonder what they would do with it.
I guess they just keep everyone's memorabilia to like sell or put in a case for all the fighters, but apparently they take one piece for every fight from every fighter.
Oh, wow. That's the first thing we've learned of that. That's awesome. I never knew that.
Yeah.
Dana White's collection must be pretty big there.
Wait,
Must be.
Do you autograph it? Sorry, do you autograph it before you give it to him?
No, I don't think I did.
Oh,
No.
Okay.
I think you just, I'm trying to remember now. No, I don't think so. I think you just give
Hand
it.
it over.
Because that would make sense to me. You would get them to autograph it, and Dana's got this nice collection,
Yeah.
$1 billion house.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I did. Honestly, I can't remember. It was literally right after we got off the bus. They were like, give us something. And I was like, ah.
Oh.
And that thing, too, that when you give you a piece of it, I'm like, well, I'm not going to go change. I don't even have clothes with me. So I guess you're getting the only thing that I'm not wearing. So here you go.
Okay.
What's
What
one
do you
word
want?
to describe you?
What?
I know we both went to the same question at the same time. What's one word to describe you?
Oof. So it's amusing because my dad and mom were actually trying to come up with one word that described me way back when. We have like a family ring, and they were trying to like get it engraved on the inside, and they came up with indescribable, which is amusing to me. I would say ambitious more than anything.
Okay.
I feel like I'm a very ambitious person, whether that helps or hurts me in some situations.
Okay. How many of those posters do you guys have to sign before the fight, by the way? I watched some guys' videos and I was like, holy, look at the stack.
Yeah, luckily only took like 10-second videos, but I think they told me this time was only 140. And it's usually a lot because of the crowd. So
Is that pre-fight too? That's gotta hurt the wrist and hand.
yeah, I know. At least they don't do it weight cut day. They did it like Tuesday, and weigh-ins are Friday. So as soon as I checked in there. But yeah, it kind of sucks. But then in addition to that, I don't know one time I've ever been to any promotion where the markers worked.
Oh, weird.
I had to change, well, because I guess they get so empty or used or whatever. And they'll have like 20 sitting there, but I had to go through like 11 or 12 while I was doing it.
Wow. Dana White's got the Sharpie hookup.
Yeah. Hey, let's shoot with the hockey draft question. If you were an animal, what would you be?
You got her on the spot now.
No. I think I've had that question before. So either probably a bald eagle or a Siberian tiger.
Okay.
Except that a Siberian tiger in the middle of where they're poaching them.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll throw you another draft question we throw our guests is if there was a $20 bill on the counter you could have for free, no problem, or there's a $100 bill at the bottom of the toilet, which one do you go for? You can only have one or the other.
Definitely get the toilet one. I'd use a little toilet bowl brush, get it out of there, I'm done.
Of course. The hard worker.
Do
you have any useless talent?
For someone else's toilet, that also makes a huge difference for me.
That definitely does make a huge difference.
Do you have any useless talents?
Useless talents? I don't know, but I have a talent that's useless right now because I haven't used it in a while. I actually do pencil sketch art. I can draw like you, just like you look, in a few hours, like on a piece of paper. But I started my own business when I was like 11 years old with that, and I haven't drawn a full picture in about 2 years with all my grad school stuff.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's definitely a talent. I don't know about useless talent.
Yeah.
No. I used to be really good at drawing, actually, so I like that.
Okay, cool. And say I'm really good at like mental math usually too. I'm a little rusty, but that's starting to prove more and more useless as time goes on with all these calculators and.
Yeah, and they said you're never going to be able to walk around with a calculator. When I was young.
Yeah, right.
Now look at it.
Like talk out loud during a test and Siri will tell you an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to thank you so much, Miranda, for taking the time for us today and coming on. We really appreciate it and chatting with you. We're big fans of yours, obviously, and we can't wait to cheer you on for the rest of your career. We know you're going to the top, and we can't wait to see you and cheer you on there.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited to see what the future holds. I hope to be back on your guys' podcast soon.
Yeah, we
Thank you
hope
so
to
much.
too. That'd be a great idea.